little bit different kind of setup than normal. No car talk on this one. I didn't have my little suction cup kind of thing. I had to get the Camry looked at. But so this is actually the day after. But let's just pretend I have no idea how this hamstring workout's going to go. Uh, I don't know. I wonder what kind of movements I'm going to do. But one thing I kind of wanted to get into is like, I've seen, well, okay, a million is kind of over exaggerating, but I've seen a crazy amount of fucking clips where it's just like, I mean, it's just people kind of dogging on anybody putting themselves in a fucking uncomfortable situation. It's like a classic. And if you're like a main gainer, if you're a diehard main gainer, you think everybody should be main gaining. That's the way to gain muscle over a long period of time. Then yeah, I mean this kind of goes against your fucking entire mentality. But when it comes to the guys that are trying to trim down or seriously bulk up, I mean, in the process, it's fucking uncomfortable. This is not my natural state of being by any fucking means. And trying to get up to like, I mean, now at 265, I'm sure a month and a half, 270, a little further, 275. I'm getting pretty confident that the 280 mark is going to be broken pre-Christmas time, before Mr. Claus comes over. But yeah, it's fucking uncomfortable, man. Being crazy, crazy full of food all the time. If I stand out in the sun, especially now that it's, dude, I'm gonna be drenched in 10 minutes just from that extra kind of heat. But that's not for no reason. That's for the kind of overarching, like, I mean, it is kind of a payment in a way, right? You're paying with this time of uncomfortability now, but going through that is for kind of a greater goal at the end. So I'll see guys like make reaction kind of videos dogging on somebody where they're trying to really diet down, and get just kind of leaner because they want to. And in the process, they're like, yeah, I'm in the phase of dieting where it's just kind of sucks. If you know anything about dieting, there's kind of an initial week, 2 week phase before you've really lost any muscle. But what happens is if you stop eating like a crazy amount of calories, especially carbs, you're kind of going to deflate in a way. A lot of your kind of intramuscular fluids and glycogen and sarcoplasm and everything else is going to kind of, simmer down because you're not just, completely fed like well, like somebody bulking. So there's like a 2 week period where you have now shrunk down. You're not as big muscularly, but you've got extra body fat on you. So if anything, you actually kind of look worse. The beginning period of dieting for that sort of first 2 weeks, you really just gradually look slightly worse before you get into the real thick of it in terms of the fat loss side, and you actually kind of start to see more results of the gains or I guess more the goal in that situation that you're actually aiming for. But in the process, somebody might say to themselves, it's like, oh, geez, this kind of fucking sucks. I'm in the, what should we call it? What's the opposite of a grace period? I'm in the disgrace period of dieting. But I mean, it's not a bad way to put it. Yeah, it's a situation where fuck, man, I look slightly worse, just objectively. If your whole grading hierarchy scheme of things is like big and lean, but that's for the end goal of being leaner later on. So you've got to be comfortable knowing, okay, I'm not exactly where I want to be right now, but I am on track to get where I want to be later on, right? If you know somebody who has, let's just say they have an issue with increasing the number on the scale, let's say they don't want to start that bulk. What's the reason? Some guys, I mean, it depends. If you're just a regular kind of high school, like college level athlete dude, and you're doing like a performance sport, yeah, maybe maybe don't try to do a fucking nasty bodybuilder bulk and like gain an extra 40 pounds and then have to deal with that later on. Totally different scenario. But I think there's a reasonably large percentage of lifters out there where their whole reason for not wanting to start bulking up, it's purely because they're like, oh, I don't want to get fat, man. I don't want to lose my abs. I just got my first shoulder striation. Come on, I can't get rid of that. But it's kind of a situation where it's like, if you can't let it go, it's not worth holding on to. Because here's my kind of thought process on the matter. It's like, look, I main gained for 3 years. When I started working out, up until 3 years, when I quit doing college sports and I actually took the bodybuilding side seriously, I was never going to do a crazy bulk. I'd get my protein in, but that was the end of it. And I gained, I wouldn't say not 40 pounds of muscle, but I went from like 160 to like 200 at maybe a similar kind of body fat percentage in that 3 year time frame. Look, I'm not anti main gaining, but you're going to reach a point where it looks like this. If you're main gaining, sure, gains. Oh, what's going on here? It's slowing down. Whoa. And then I feel like it's going to slow down to a point where you got to change something, So if you want to break away from this exponential where you're gradually just making smaller and smaller or smaller and smaller returns year after year, or even just by a month basis, then that's where changing it up with a bulking phase might do you some good, man. Maybe bulk up, try to put on 25 pounds, diet down reasonably so you actually kind of get to hold on to some of the muscle that you built. And then at the end of it, oh shit, I'm 5 pounds heavier and I was just as lean as I was in the beginning. Whoa, so if what's holding you back from doing something like that is you're afraid of like not enjoying that sort of interstitial time period between you and where that goal is, then I mean, this isn't rhetorical, that's up for you to decide. But there's no reason to dog on somebody for going through uncomfortability on purpose because they want what's on the end of it. And if somebody isn't willing to do that in the process, I mean, anybody can say whatever, but what really gives them the right to criticize them? It's like, what are you going to make fun of someone for doing an ice bath if you can never even put your foot in? Which maybe I'm losing track of sight there, but I kept seeing a bunch of little clips like that, which were kind of annoying me. But back to the normal car talk as usual. Tomorrow, I'm getting the itch. I keep watching I mean, not on purpose. I'm just scrolling my phone, but I keep seeing all the Minecraft speed runs. What do you think? 20 minutes? I did it in an hour once, so maybe that's on the horizon for you. But I'll see you in the anytime in 1 second. There we go. No car talk today. I don't have my had to take the Camry in, and I don't have the suction cup in my mom's car, so we'll just have to make do. But I was planning on doing a full leg day. I'm not sure exactly when it was. Like, I never had like a moment where I said, whoa, that hurt. But I think it was maybe 4 leg days ago or so. The last time I did barbell squats, I think I must have fucking got my knee somewhere. Kind of like you ever hear Osgood Slaughters, where it's like where your knee tendon kind of ties into your shin. I'm feeling a little something right there, kind of tendinitis-y. Like, I mean, it's not like I think my knee's gonna explode, but it's discomfort to the level where I think even doing any quads right now, seriously, is just putting me further behind in terms of having now a nagging kind of tweak. So instead, let's just make tonight just a real posterior chain destruction kind of approach. So I'm going to start off with a couple of adductors here. Not exactly for, I mean, these aren't working sets by any means. Really, all I'm trying to do is warm myself up. Because even though it's not really doing a crazy amount, I still kind of feel like once my adductors are a little warmer, my hamstrings, I just feel more comfortable on the hamstring curls. So I'll sit here for a couple of minutes, get these warm. I'm also going to kind of counter this with a couple of like body weight single leg calf raises, because I'm not sure if you're totally aware, but if you're thinking about your leg just like your arm, when you do a curl, it's not immediately all bicep. Your forearm comes into play as well. Same shit below the waist. So even though it is a hamstring curl, hamstrings are doing the primary work, my calves still come into play. Your calves are still kind of, because they sort of tie in up here into your upper arm, so it's all kind of a continuous sort of system. So for me at least, I mean, maybe you've never run into it, but if I ever do hamstring curls without warming up my calves, sometimes I get this real kind of just like pinchy, like nothing crazy, but just a little bit of a tightness in like the back side of my knee where my hamstrings tie in. And if I can remedy that with just a couple of sets of warm-ups, then that's what I'm going to do. Same thing with triceps, same thing with anything. It's don't just immediately jump to the conclusion like, oh, I can't do heavy tricep pushdowns. My elbows get so sore. I feel like I'm on fire. That's going to make me ask, okay, did you do any warming up, or did you just immediately do like half the stack and then say, okay, we're good, let's do a big set? It's like little things can be diminished. But I'm going to camp out here for a minute, and then we can fast forward to what I'm going to try to make the most intense hamstring day that I've had in a while. Because if this is only hamstrings, that means I got my whole leg day's energy to just concentrate on the backside here. And then hopefully with this extra day of rest, so now a full week off of quads, this should kind of tighten itself up, and then we can get back to some heavy stuff. And not just some heavy stuff, but also some more pressing volume. But I'm not joking. I mean, what's the point of pushing yourself through an injury if it's just going to continually progress negatively, and then eventually you could be really screwed, So I've gotten a little bit smarter with being cautious about minor tweaks. So if you ever get an engine light on in your fucking body, listen to it and act accordingly. But let's cut to the first set of hamstring curls. A little less than the full stack is about as much as I'm going to be able to manage for a good squeezing set. So one thing I'm really trying to change is maybe not the amounts. I might do like probably 8-ish sets of hamstrings tonight. So I don't need every set to be completely different, but I do want to hit a wide array of like set executions. So this first one is going to biasing to hold in position, right? Imagine these are my hamstrings. Hold it, 1 second, back down normal speed. Hold it, 1 second. So I might do a few of these. I might just do the one and change it up. But like, don't, I get a lot of, and I'm not complaining, but like I'll get some flack where it's like, dude, Sam, you only did hamstring curls. Like, sure, you did the laying and the seated, but it's like, is that really enough? And like, sure, that's only 2 movements, but each movement can be executed insanely fucking differently. You can do a set of dumbbell curls how many different ways? A fucking 100? Do them lighter, do like a tempo rep, do them. Like, you can change this shit up so much. It's beyond just even describing a set as like, oh, let's just do 3 sets here. It's like, if you really want to get into it, it's not necessarily just like 3 sets of this. It's more like 3 sets in, whatever kind of style. But I like changing it up like this, so this would be a perfect starter. Once we get lighter, I'll be able to do some self-assisted reps too. Just another reason why I fucking love this hammer strength lane curl. One more like that. That would have been too fucking heavy for a controlled set. Okay. Let's think here. What would you do if you just did 2 good sets of laying curls and maybe you wanted to change it up? Yet again, let's change it up. New machine, new technique, new everything. Honestly, I think I need to get I need like a little fucking Wheel of Fortune kind of thing. Honestly, that could make for some kind of interesting workouts. Pick your movements at your leisure, but then spin the wheel, and it'll tell you, like, do a light squeezing set, do a set where you hold the lengthen position for a second, and then, regular rep, hold the lengthen, something like that. If somebody steals that, give me a little credit. But plan here is going to be holding the extended portion, so I'm going to let my feet just hang on the top for a second. But I'm not doing nothing. I'm still holding the weight and really stretching out my hamstrings, which is something I have not done really, like, at least in the dedicated fashion for the earlier part of my hamstring training. Typically, I'm actually known for, not known for, but whenever I would do this machine, I mean, a lot of heavy sets too, but I'm like, this right here is like the maximum range of motion. And I was bouncing around this area, really just throwing weight around, which I don't think is inherently bad. I mean, I'm still wrecking my hamstrings, but I'm totally missing out on this stretch position by doing it that way. So like I was saying a second ago, I don't want to just lock into one specific method. If I can change it up enough, odds are at least something that I'm doing is going to stimulate some new kind of hamstring growth. So if your workouts are getting a little bit stale, you can tell you only do straight sets every set, and you're getting a little tired of it. Maybe your pump is suffering, dude. That'd be the worst case scenario. Change it up, throw drops in there every so often. But let's throw this around. And lightweight too, barely half the stack. One more like that. A little heavier though. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's go do somebody else. Doing a little to and through kind of approach. 2 sets there, 2 sets here. What are the odds we do 2 sets of RDLs and then move on again? Reasonably high, I think. I'm no exercise physiologist, but I can say for sure, if I'm standing in front of a bar to do some RDLs, a few things are going through my mind. Keep my back relatively straight. I don't mind a little bend. I mean, for me at least, this is a very manageable weight. Like I'm not concerned if I'm doing these kind of RDLs and my back's a little rounded over at the bottom. Now, it depends on how heavy you're going. I mean, somebody like oh my God, we had a visit with the Renaissance periodization guys, Mike and Jared, and it was kind of a whole get together characters a couple of months ago. But I was doing hamstrings with Hunter Labrada. Dude, fucking beast. Imagine me times, well, I don't know. He's got to be 300 something. I mean, fuck. Only me times like maybe an extra 40, 50% of muscle. Not to fucking make it, not to downgrade. The dude's a beast. But he's doing, we're doing hamstring curls together, and then we move on to do RDLs. And, I do like 2 plates, and then he adds 3 plates, and he adds 4 plates, and he had, I don't remember, I think he did 5, maybe 6 plates for RDLs. Wow. So he had really good form. He's not going to have his back like arched over with that much weight. But for me, it was something like this, where it's just heavy enough to let me really isolate my hamstrings. I'm not concerned. Now, that's not me saying keep a round back, but I'm just telling you there's a little caveat to this situation. So relatively tight feet, a little less than shoulder width. And then I'm trying to almost pivot like below my hips. Like it's tricky. If you practice them enough, you'll just get it. Try to pull with your hamstrings, not your glutes, which is very easier said than done. But either way, I'm talking too much. Let's get started here. Yeah. 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 Ah. 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 Okay. Oh. Whew. Oh. Yeah. That was good. I kind of have to end these sets once I can tell my hamstrings are weak enough that I start using glutes and lower back, which I don't want to do. So that's my cue. Probably one more, potentially two. You know, submit your bets now. Okay. Oh my God. That's enough. Oh, let's unload this shit. Head back. This will be a nasty burnout kind of set. Ripping it from the get-go. Actually, this song sucks. All right. All right. Okay, that was way too fucking heavy. I think I may just do one more burnout set, and that'll be the end of it. Okay. All right, that's enough. Oh my God. Oh. Let's friggin' roll.